All right, we're back. This is Collin and Connors Power Hour, Volume 7. Today I have. Fuck, swallowed some vodka wrong. I like to drink when I record these. Yeah, it's Collin and Connors Power Hour, Volume 7. Today I have special guest Collin on.
Good to hear from you, my guy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh yeah.
Today we are mostly going to focus on talking about our comic we've been working on for a while now. So Collin, why don't you introduce the comic a little bit?
Yeah, what's up guys? My name's Colin. I'm a illustrator and designer. Uh Me and Connor kind of met through working in Minnesota a few years ago. I moved out of town now, so we haven't linked in a while, but we have been working on this comic pitch kind of I would say kind of like The Office in space meets Clint Eastwood Fistful of Dollars. I don't know. How would you kind of explain it if you had like a sentence or two to explain it, Connor?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like basically the idea of it is we pulled kind of the spaghetti western uh quiet American hero and basically insert him into a sci-fi setting. So he's got this horse that can travel through like dimensions and time and just kind of go wherever we feel like. And he tries to collect bounties for this weird office that he works for. Um, so that's pretty much the concept. I mean, it's just kind of a weird space western that we were
Yeah,
working on for a while.
I'd say it was kind of a fun process because it was both you and me just kind of like goofing around, just throwing ideas at each other, and like had some stuff really click. But yeah, so we have a pitch for it right now, and I would say it's kind of at the stage where it's about five or six finished pages, a full story, and a full synopsis, and a cover letter. So definitely something that is ready to send to publishers, but we, we haven't quite finished all the pages yet. But
Right, we're still working on it. And this first
yeah,
issue, it's kind of an interesting I feel like it kind of touches on all of the main themes. I think we kind of thought of it as not really being like a multi-part thing, but like each issue would be its own little self-contained adventure with this guy. I mean, maybe we would do like multi-part stories later, but the main idea was to keep it very much in that like early comic book medium where it's like one issue is one story, self-contained.
yeah, kind of like I don't know, it's kind of that Silver Age type of deal where yeah, I think at one point you used the term like villain of the week, and I loved that term. That kind of really struck
Oh,
home.
for
That's where I
sure.
kind of think this kind of is in the space of like kind of I would even say like The Office meets Rick and Morty in space. Like I would say those are definitely type of the vibes, just kind of like goofy one-off stories with the same recognizable characters.
Right, for sure. I think like the and it allows more like creative freedom to like be like, well, this week he fights a fucking giant bear, which is what our first kind of like he fights like
Right.
he goes to like this bear universe where everyone's bears, and then he kind of assassinates the bear president, and all sorts of weird shenanigans happen. But then like next week
Yeah.
we could do like a creepy alien or a horror story. So it allows us to
Yeah.
kind of take that Clint Eastwood archetype and put him in various different like locations and directions.
Yeah. I thought it was a great twist to kind of have that stoic, non-talkative like cowboy archetype, and just see what happens if we put him in like a goofy office setting with like weird blob characters and just like
Right.
stuff like that you hopefully wouldn't see every day.
Right. And also just like, he can bump into other bounty hunters or just office workers or whatever because he's part of like basically the space like bounty hunter league. And they're like,
Yeah,
you're a great
we
warrior from your time. We want you to be, using our crazy technologies and stuff. And it also allows for a lot of like fun sci-fi premises. I was partially inspired when we were coming up with the idea by this painting I did back in the day, which is just like a
Right.
more of like a John Wayne in space, but
Yeah.
with a crab hand. And that was an
Oh yeah.
inspiration for me. But I also just I like Hollywood westerns, and I like different genres of like sci-fi and adventure, fantasy, and this kind of
Yeah.
allows us to dip our toes in all sorts of different worlds, which is really fun, I
Yeah.
think.
And I think just in the past like 10 to 20 years in media, there's also just been some really, really great like space western stories that like have really stood the test of time and like spoke to me, like with like The Mandalorian
Oh
coming
yeah,
out and how they really went back to like the space western roots that George Lucas like kind of really based the stuff off of in the 70s, like how that was all inspired by like Seven Samurais and Red
yeah,
River and stuff. So like it really felt like a really like going back to its roots and like made it a western again, which really excited me. But and then also I'm also really inspired by anime and manga like Cowboy Bebop.
yeah. I was gonna say I thought we kind
That's a
of took
big
some Cowboy
western.
Bebop influence and stuff.
Oh yeah, I
At
would definitely say so.
at least that was in mind when we were pitching it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's been a fun process so far. Of course, we haven't worked on it too much lately, but hopefully we can start doing some meetings and getting that worked out again.
yeah,
Um,
that's definitely the plan, man. So
yeah, I mean,
uh,
I got to get an iPad or something so I can keep coloring, but you guys
what
can
what
see.
computer do you got? I might know a free program that you could possibly try to go it in.
See,
But
I just built my own, but it's on a Windows OS.
you're on a PC? Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a I think Affinity is the free one. I'll get back to you on it, but there's some free like Illustrator type programs that you could color in.
yeah. I mean, I'll figure it out. I mean, I could throw down $300 to get a used iPad. I don't mind
There.
because what were we using again? What was that software? It was just like
My iPad?
yeah, we were
Oh,
well, it was
Procreate.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Procreate. That was the same one I was using on Corey's. So I just need
Yeah.
like even like a 5-year-old iPad can still run that shit. So if I just got like a
Oh,
$300
mine's
iPad, I could
literally
get rolling.
yeah. The iPad that I use, dude, is literally like the very first one that was compatible with a Apple Pencil. So like it's that old school shit. It definitely gets me where I need to go now. I will say like with my job that I've been working lately, I like have gotten a lot better at just using like the Apple desktop and stuff because my day job now, like I'm a graphic designer for a screen printing company, so make like a lot of t-shirts and stuff for like Scooters Coffee and all apparel merchandising for like high schools and stuff around here. So I've gotten like pretty good at like
Oh sure.
that like design aspect of comics and stuff, but like I'm still like as much as I can during the day, I'll still use my iPad on Procreate to like draw out like the stuff and then kind of integrate it back into Illustrator
No,
from
I
there.
for sure get that. Yeah. And you sent me the
So
pages, so we'll try to hook up some cool pages for the background of this. You guys should be seeing them right now. But yeah, no, I think it's been a pretty fun process making the comic, and that was definitely a good time, just like working through it. And the nice thing is we can kind of just say, what do we feel like dipping into this week? Well, it'd be kind of cool to do a kaiju story where he has to fight a giant monster or something. We could just make some shit
yes,
up,
dude.
whatever we're
Yeah.
feeling, really.
That's like the fun with this character and these worlds and this kind of way. So
Right.
yeah, I'm definitely yeah, I'll you know me, dude. I'm down to get drawing again, so
Yeah,
we'll get that going and then if people are feeling this first issue, we'll move on to a second one and do something even crazier and goofier.
for sure. I also want to talk about some of the influences outside of just the story. I think like one of my influences from a coloring aspect was definitely that X Factor story that we were kind of throwing around to each other at the end.
Right. Was that
Uh,
John Byrne? Was that who was
Oh,
that?
who
Who did
was
that?
that? That was Mike something. I can't remember his name right away.
Yeah, you're right.
And
It was
obviously, like Darwin Cook.
yeah,
Excuse the X Factor comic. I'm trying to remember his last name
Mike
because I do.
Carpenter.
Um,
No, no,
no,
no, no.
because you got the.
Dude, oh my
I'm
god.
trying to remember.
Because the first X Factor is made by, isn't it made by Liefeld? Or no?
Well, the
No, that
early
no,
X
because
Factor was.
that was like in the 80s. But like
Well, the '80s X
Larry
Factor was
Stroman was
like
an
a
artist on that for sure.
was it was like a redo. Like they had the old original X-Men back,
Yeah.
and then this was kind of just like, oh no, this was X Force. I'm sorry. So it started as X Force. X Factor is something totally different. X Force, which was Liefeld, and then they kind of like the joke of the comic is they just kind of like illegally trademarked the X Force name.
Yeah.
But it's Mike Allred and Peter Milligan.
Mike Allred. Yes.
I don't know why
Okay.
that wasn't coming to me right away.
Yeah, that was so hard for me to just remember right there. But no, he's great.
No,
He
he's
had that was a great book.
that's some awesome art, and I think it's definitely kind of influenced our like cartoony style. Of course, the late and great Darwin Cook is somebody I think we both really look to
Man.
as well.
Yeah, he's definitely always and probably always will be like in my top three like
Oh,
comic art inspiration. Man, I have like a very specific like kind of taste, man. Like I would say Darwin Cook, um, Mike Allred is also really up there, but I would say Chris Samney. Do you know his like Daredevil books that he did?
who wrote those? Was that the
Um, let's see here.
we're just flopping on names today, but that's all right.
Yeah,
I think I know who you're
no,
talking
yeah, well,
about. Who did you say that was again?
Mike Samney is or Chris Samney, excuse me, is the artist on it, but I'm trying to remember who was the writer
Oh
because
yeah, 100%. That's the one he did with. This is who I was thinking of
Firepower.
because that was Mark
He also
Wade. That was he
Mark
did
Wade
like
wrote it.
yeah, and then it looks like he's done some like Superman work too. Yeah, no, I definitely knew I figured you were talking about him when we were connecting him
Yeah,
with like
Mark Wade.
Darwin Cook
That's
and stuff.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
it's kind of like a
because I
more
remember showing him a lot
refined,
too.
yeah, like a more refined version of that Silver Age art style.
True.
Like you have
Yeah.
that like very angular and somewhat cartoony like
Yeah.
Jack Kirby style, and then you're making it more uh
Kind of more refined and
refined. Yeah.
simplified. Yeah. I would even also in that bucket of stuff that kind of influenced me for the art style of this book, I would even throw David Mazzucchelli's style, like year one Batman, but particularly
Oh yeah.
this mini story he did that dang, we're flopping so hard on the names today, dude. But
Hey, that's all right, man.
yeah,
There's
it's
probably
like
some
this
guy
mini
at home
story he
right now
did.
that's like these fucking assholes.
They're just like, how could they forget?
How could they forget?
Um, it was in this magazine, and it was like a mini comic he did. It was called like Big Man or something. Uh, but it's long story short, it's about this guy who like finds this like huge dude, and kind of they have this like little adventure, I guess. But it's like a real short story. Big Man, that's what it's called.
Gotcha.
Now that's also like kind of that really simplified, like angled style that is just really good, man. And that one was that was kind of done. It was like a one color watercolor. Like I'm pretty sure he did it in black and white, and then had like a one or two watercolor
Oh,
scheme
gotcha.
to
So
it.
he was just. It kind of reminds me of like from a film aspect. You got like the gel coloring Luigi Cosi would do a lot. which is
Yeah.
where you kind of throw like one or two colors over black and white film, and then it's more interpretive
Yeah.
than like uh, realistic. It adds more of an interpretive style.
That's very, yeah, very true, very
That's
reminiscent of
awesome.
it. I'll send you. I'm looking at some pictures of it now. I'll send you some later to kind of upload with it, but
Yeah. So what got
it's
you into
fire.
comics and like I guess like graphic design and also like the
Um,
comic book work in general?
Man, so I've always just like really loved comics. I think like once I learned that like real people and not like machines or like it wasn't coming out of thin air, like once I learned that real people were drawing them, I think I definitely had an interest in it. Funny enough though, do you remember the show Batman the Brave and the Bold?
Oh, that was an awesome show.
Dude.
Especially because a lot of the characters now on Batman Brave and the Bold are super famous, getting movies and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
Blue
Blue Beetle
Beetle.
and
I
all
mean, come
that.
on now.
But that
Yeah.
was definitely yeah, no, like coming out right after like cuz like I was mostly just into Spider-Man before that, but
Yeah.
Dark Knight, I watched Dark Knight in theaters like 3 times, and that got
Oh
me
yeah.
like then they just launched Brave and the Bold out of
Yeah.
that. So that was a big influence for me to start looking into other characters like Atom and Green Lantern and Green
Right.
Arrow and stuff like that.
Yeah, because for me, like I had always been into Batman. Like my dad bought me like the whole DVD set of the animated series, like right when they like finally released that, and like so I just kind of grew up on that, and that kind of really got me, into Batman. And then of course, like even before that, like my grandpa just had like boxes of like old comics like that he picked up when he was a kid, and unfortunately like they were kind of ran through, like he didn't really like preserve them or mint them or anything like that,
Right.
but he had some really fucking cool ones, dude. He had like the first appearance of Batgirl that I have now. It's just like the spine is kind of ripped and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I had
And he
that
had he
I
had the
had that
first
issue
appearance
as
of Guy
well.
Gardner. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like he had some like really cool ones that were just in there, and of course some good Spider-Man ones too. I'd say like Batman and Spider-Man were like the big ones for me, like kind of
Oh, for sure. And
for the start out.
the only reason I think I like Batman a bit more than Spider Man is the extended family of Batman is so much more compelling to
Yeah.
me. Because when I started reading comics, Spider Man was still a solo character. It wasn't until
Oh
recently that
yeah,
they started adding Spider Gwen and Miles. And I
dude, the
guess there was
Spider-Verse, they're really
2099, but
starting
he
to.
wasn't
Yeah.
really connecting and linking up with 2099 like he is with
Yeah.
the Spider Verse and all that shit now.
No. See, there was like throughout comics, there was a lot of like, like the Clone Saga and like all these other like, oh, there's this Spider-Man and then this Spider-Man. But it wasn't until like Dan Slott and those kind of guys really wrote that first Spider-Verse book that or series that kind of like got
Right.
like the idea of like the multiverse of Spider-Man
Well,
like kind
that
of
was
going.
based on kind of an obscure Xbox, not obscure because it's Spider Man, but uh,
Web of
he based
Shadows,
that
right?
off of
Or
Shattered Dimensions.
Shattered Dimensions, that's what it is.
Yeah, Shattered
Because Dan Slott
Dimensions.
also was a writer in that game too,
Yeah,
funny
so
enough.
he
I,
wrote
I
that
was looking that up
game.
the other day
He wrote that game, and then he kind of felt inspired to like bring
with
it to
that.
a grander
Did you
scale
play
in
that game,
comics.
bro?
Yeah, no, I actually bought that game on launch day
Oh,
because
that game
I
was
was super
so.
into the comics and I was super into the games, so I was like buying all those Ultimate Alliance games and stuff on
Oh fuck
launch.
yeah, dude! Ultimate Alliance hit too, but Shattered Dimensions, dude, that game was so good. When you could play as the symbiote Spider-Man
Yeah,
or the Noir Spider-Man,
you
dude.
had the Ultimate Spider-Man, but
Yep.
his character gimmick was that he was merged with the symbiote. Then you had
Yeah, he was
Amazing
like the version
Spider-Man,
that
who was kind of the
decided to keep
vanilla
it.
Spider-Man. But
Yeah,
then you could do
yeah, you're like
2099,
standard.
which was just like crazy, fast-paced, kind of God of War-esque. And
Yep.
the one that I think worked the worst was Spider-Man Noir because it felt like they kind of whipped him into the game to try to like capitalize on Arkham. But his stuff is still fun.
Yeah.
I just find the stealth occasionally
Yeah, I was
kind
like,
of
it's literally the same shit as playing a stealth mission on any of the Arkham games. I will give you that. But like fuck, man, it was still a ton of fun for me.
Oh yeah, especially just having like the four. And at the time, I
Right,
was
and just
disappointed it
switching
wasn't
back and
open
forth with
worlds,
Madam
but
Web.
like going back to it, I love like games that are just level 1, level 2. Like
Yeah,
like
classic. I
I
mean,
feel
like it doesn't.
so much different. And like after you beat that first amazing world, then you unlock it. So each time you unlock a new like you unlock like one level for each, and kind of like Mega Man, you can pick which one you want to start with. I mean, it's less like integral to do them in a certain order than Mega Man and like
Right.
strategize that, but it's still fun to be like, oh, nice, a new Spider-Man Noir level. I'm gonna beat that shit first. I
Yeah,
actually finally
yeah.
got all
It's
my
kind of like pick
comics
your
from my
path.
dad's house, and I got some good stuff in there. I was surprised because
Oh
I
shit,
sold a
you just
lot of stuff, so I wasn't
fucking grabbed it.
100% sure what I had and
Right.
didn't. But I still have my Superman number 9, which is probably my rarest comic because it's like
Oh
1940.
yeah,
That's rad.
yeah.
Um,
That's nuts. Yeah,
it's
that's
coverless,
very
so
neat.
I couldn't even gauge how much it's worth. But I would say like
Yeah.
around like 1 to 200. And I picked that up at a flea market.
Right.
And then
Right.
I got a
That's
Star
fine for
Spangled
sure.
Comics, which is like
Mm.
Robin, which is a Robin cover. Because for a while in Star Spangled Comics, for like 3 or 4 years, Robin had a side story in it, and it got pretty popular. So, really, the first Robin solo stories are these Star Spangled Comics
Was
ones.
that was that Dick Grayson when he like went to college?
No,
Was
it
that
was
that arc?
pre-college. That he went to college. I think that was actually an extra in Adventure Comics. I want to say,
Okay. And then
because
I know
that book
he's
was
definitely had runs like that like in the 70s, like kind of like
yeah. Because
Neil Adams like era.
what happened was I think that was in Adventure Comics. I could be totally talking out my ass right now, but if I remember correctly, after Superboy kind of went out of style, Supergirl took over Adventure Comics, and then the A story would be Supergirl, and then there was like an 8 or 9 page B story, which was kind of Robin's adventures in college. It could have been,
Right,
it could
yeah.
have been a different book, but that was the general idea: is that the B story of whatever book it was Robin's adventures in college, and those are actually really good. I have those in a Showcase Presents volume, and I do enjoy them
Yeah.
quite a bit. But this is like
Yep.
this is still Golden Age, so it's still little dinky
At that
Robin,
point,
10-year
yeah.
old Robin, and most of the stories were like, I just had a dream that I went to the 10,000 BC and Batman couldn't help me, so I had to fight a saber-toothed tiger. That's the one I have specifically. It's weird, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah,
When I
definitely.
was going on a selling rampage, I did sell my first appearance of Batgirl. I still have my first appearance of the first Batgirl, Betty Kane, but not as
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon anymore. I sold my Aquaman number 1, sold a lot of stuff, but I do have a lot of cool like Golden Age stories because I didn't part with a lot of my Golden Age collection, thankfully.
Smart move.
Um,
Yeah, smart move.
the one
They
I
keep
did
getting,
part
since they're
with
so
that
rare, they
really
just keep getting.
sucks. This was before the Shazam movie came out, but I had the first appearance of Mary Marvel, and I sold that for like
Oh, damn.
I sold it for maybe like $500 or $600 because it wasn't in great condition, and at the time I was like, I
Yeah.
need rent money. But now,
Yep, that's how it goes.
it'd be worth a lot more. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Same with the first appearance of Batgirl,
God
and
damn.
same with probably Aquaman number 1 because those were all before their respective movies.
Right.
I guess Batgirl's movie got canceled,
Right.
which is BS. I was kind of talking about that
Dude,
on my
I've
last podcast.
yeah. Yeah, that's a shame for sure, man. That was looking up to be good. I really hope that this kind of universe that they're shifting into with James Gunn kind of works out, man, because I really did enjoy Peacemaker, and I
Oh,
hope that he can
Peacemaker
kind of
was
just get
great.
these integral characters right.
I think it'll like
Because
I really like James Gunn from what I've seen of
yeah,
him. I have faith that
yeah,
he'll do pretty
and I've
good.
enjoyed these movies too. Yeah,
I
I
think
do
it'll
know
be
that
more
he is
comic
an actual
accurate.
comic reader and he cares more, to put it that
Yeah,
way.
Snyder
And
had a
he's
vision, and it was a cohesive vision until Joss Whedon
right.
came in. But I didn't
Yeah,
care
I
for the
think they
vision
just
as a
majorly fumbled the
DC
bag.
reader. That was
Yeah,
my issue.
yeah, Yeah, so I think it's interesting that he's pulling some of these like less known characters out for this stuff because it's it's proven to be true. Like he did it for Guardians of the Galaxy. He can probably make some of these characters big for DC. But some like with the Superman Legacy and the Batman
Right.
Brave and the Bold coming out, I'm hoping that he can stick that one because those are important.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited for both of those, honestly. And Creature
I am too,
Commandos
man.
comes out like
And
next
Blue
year is
Beetle.
kind of a.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a like a stay tuned type of
right.
something they can get out a little quicker than a live action
Yeah,
movie. But if Creature Commandos sucks, it's a lot less of a big deal than say Superman Legacy or Batman
right.
because those are gonna
There's a
prove
little
either
less to
way.
lose. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. And I have faith too, because I think especially
I
with
do,
something
man.
like Creature Commandos, it's a little different than like Suicide Squad and Guardians, but
Right,
you can kind of have fun with it, and it's on HBO Max, so it's kind of low stakes
right.
comparatively. So I'm excited for that. That looks
Yeah,
fun. I'm excited for
yeah.
Swamp Thing too. That'll be a good time.
Yes. Man, what's going on with the Pattonverse here? Like, I thought they were making a Penguin show on HBO Max and all this other stuff.
I
And I
heard,
know it got greenlit for the Batman too.
yeah. So I guess they're doing like Elseworld stories. So they're still doing like probably a trilogy on that Joker thing and a trilogy for the Batman, along with some other mismatched spin offs. But those
Right.
are all going to be considered DC
That's
Elseworlds.
where it's
So
man.
they're doing kind of like
I'm so cool with that because I loved Elseworlds in the
I'm cool
comics
with
too.
that. Like if someone pitches a really cool Superman story and it doesn't really fit in the main universe, like why not? Or even like an obscure
Yeah.
character, whatever. Um, let's
Well,
say,
and they're kind of doing this thing right now. They're not calling it Elseworlds anymore. It's like Dark Knights or something like
oh
that.
yeah,
And it's kind of their own like Elseworlds thing now. But I haven't really picked up any lately, but I was looking at picking up one that was it was like a Batman one. It was oh my god, I can't remember what it was called, dude. Shame on me for forgetting all these names for the pod, but basically the whole premise is like this is like a what if story if kind of Batman just totally gave up the mantle of Bruce Wayne and like only was Batman.
oh
And it kind of
interesting,
follows like that type of story, and I thought that was fucking interesting because that's a lot of like what was happening in Matt Reeves the Batman was that he kind of was like I don't give a fuck about being Bruce Wayne.
oh yeah,
uh, how's that gonna help me, you know? And then that's kind of like his arc at the end of the movie is like learning he needs to be more than just like a vigilante. He needs to be a symbol for the
right.
people and stuff like that. So
No, it's for
that I
sure
thought,
one of the
yeah,
more
I thought that was
interesting
great.
aspects of the movie. Um, Yeah, no, the
So
Batman was a
yeah,
great movie, so I'm glad they're doing that, and then also doing. I also think it could be interesting that they're doing more of like a Bat family centric movie.
yeah,
Cause
yeah. I mean, we haven't seen Damian Wayne at all in any type of live action, really. So
yeah, I
this
mean
will
the
be
only
interesting.
Robin we saw was Dick, but that was a very different interpretation with
Right.
Chris. Fuck, I can't remember a single name for this podcast, but you know who I'm talking about. Batman and
Yeah, of
Robin,
course. Batman
Chris
Forever,
O'Donnell.
Batman and Robin, Chris
Chris
O'Donnell.
O'Donnell,
Yep, that's
yeah,
right.
that was a different
Uh,
take.
yeah.
I
Yeah. You
saw
know, it was okay with Batman Forever, but yeah, we all know about Batman and Robin.
I Batman and Robin. I still love the four original Batman movies because I grew up on them, but I
Yeah,
watched Batman and
right.
Robin during COVID, and I thought that shit was so funny. I just think of it
Dude,
like
it's just so funny.
I think
It's
like the
very memey.
Schumacher verse is like kind of trying to revive that Adam West feel for the '90s. And
Yeah,
I would be pissed if I went to theaters expecting a Batman movie and then
like a Tim
saw
Burton style movie and then saw that. Yeah.
yeah, and saw that. But with the benefit of hindsight, if I look at it as like Adam West for the 90s, I kind of fuck with those two Joel Schumacher
Yeah,
movies.
like it's got
I
its own
still
vibe
think they're
for
not
sure.
great, but I definitely fuck with them more. But I understand,
Right,
especially how older viewers are like, I lined up to see the new Batman. I waited 2 years and I ended up getting
right.
some weird campy shit. Like I
Yeah.
crack up when I see the back credit card. That joke works for me. It lands.
Cha-ching. Yeah, dude. It's no, there's still a special place for it. I agree. But speaking of Schumacher, man, have you been hearing what's going on with like Kevin Smith and how he held like the original Schumacher cut for Batman Forever?
Yeah, I heard about that. How he's seen
That's
it and
fucking
all that.
crazy.
Yeah,
Well, and he was saying apparently it's like way fucking darker and like just a completely different movie. Like there's a man bat scene and
that's
shit.
sick.
Like a fully animatronic man bat, dude.
That's
Like
too
kind of like
wild.
Lost Boys style. Like
Oh
I was like,
yeah,
damn. And so apparently he had the cut and like got some. I think he got permission from the family and like showed it at his like theater in New Jersey like a few times.
that's sick. I would go out to see that.
I would literally, dude. I'm like, if he does it again, man, we gotta
I
book
would
the
love
trip.
if
'Cause,
Warner Brothers released that because Warner Brothers is kind of the only studio
that
that's
will do that
willing to do stuff like that. Like Disney would be
to
like,
do
hell no,
director's
you
cut.
can't
Yeah.
show that. But I
Oh
guess
God,
Warner
man.
Brothers probably was like, yeah, Kevin, if you can drum up enough fan interest, we'll drop a special edition that everyone's gonna buy. But I mean,
Yeah,
they did the
dude.
Snyder
I
cut.
fucking buy it. But
They did
yeah,
the Snyder cut. They did the Donner cut. They did a lot of like director's cuts of these
I
superhero
think they did the
movies.
Ayer cut too for the original Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they have that at least. It's not out.
Oh, it's not? Okay. I thought they added
No.
some footage for the DVD release.
Yeah, that's the ultimate. They have like an ultimate cut. And
Okay.
supposedly
Okay.
there's like a full ass redo.
Yeah. Oh, and apparently he had way more shit of like Jared Leto's Joker. Apparently it was like way more focused on the Joker.
Yeah, for better or for worse, we can get that Jared Leto reevaluation part
Yeah, yeah. I was
immediately
like,
with the
however
big
you guys
grabbing.
want.
That's wild. Yeah, I
No,
mean, I
for
guess
real,
speaking
dude.
of Lost Boys, you kind of did a comic on the Lost Boys too. Isn't that on your website?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So if you guys are interested in seeing it, you can go to collingivens.com, COLLINGIV as in Victor, ENS.com. And you can kind of see a lot of my comic work there. And I've got most of the pages like just kind of showing on there, but then you can click a link and download a PDF of the whole thing. Long story short, it was just kind of a retelling of a true crime incidents that happened in the 1980s in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which is about it's like an hour outside of Minneapolis. So
Right.
kind of went there and did some research, went to the library, kind of like found out the whole story and found out like you know kind of where the murderers lived and everything, and took reference photos. And long story short, it's about these kids who kind of like were truant, some of them truant, and some of them just kind of living in this apartment and letting drifters come by. And one of these drifters kind of was, abusing them and stuff. And so this is around the time Lost Boys came out. So like the lead kid there was like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this dude out camping. We're all gonna fall asleep, and then when he's asleep, we're gonna beat him up with the log from the fire for like 40 minutes, and then cut his throat and drink his blood.
Yeah. No, it's fucking
And
wild.
so, yeah, that's basically exactly what they did. And then, as dumb kids do, they go home and instantly start bragging about it. So they
Yeah.
instantly get caught.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
That's also a Joel Schumacher movie. Speaking of
yeah.
Lost Boys.
So yeah, basically, yeah, Lost Boys, yeah, that's the movie they all watched to kind of be inspired to be vampires. But for those who haven't seen the movie, it's about these. It's like the teen vampire before Twilight. It's these teens are in the 80s and they're riding motorbikes and drinking beer and going crazy. So it's a good movie though. We ended up watching it in the theater.
Right. Yeah. No, that
It
was
was
fun.
fun.
I don't
That was a good
remember.
time. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had the Wi-Fi was all fucky that day. I remember that. We couldn't.
Dude, isn't that like a light furniture store now or
It
something?
is. It's a furniture store, bro. I was
Dude,
driving by it because I drive by it on the way to work now. My new
right.
job, from Eden Prairie to my new job, and yeah, man, it's just right there. It's some fucking like,
That's some trippy shit, dude.
which is actually funny because
Yeah.
they tore down Apple Valley AMC too, and
Did they
also made
really?
that shit into the same franchise of furniture store.
Wow.
Yeah, that furniture store is just buying up AMC locations. I think it's a coincidence, but I guess the lot just kind of makes sense, like size
Yeah,
wise or
dude.
something. I don't know. That's
Yeah, dude.
wild.
That's crazy. I always did think EP was probably the best one, though.
EP
We had
is
a good
pretty
time at
nice.
EP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was hella chill, and we just got to be in booth. And I think because I literally did a paper on the Batman, like when it came out. And since that was the only place we watched it, we probably sat in there and watched it like 4 or 5 times.
Oh yeah, I watch it so
We
many
watched that movie a
times.
ton. And there was times that we like would have to like run up to booth and then pause it so I could like write some shit down on the
Yeah.
laptop. So,
Yeah,
but
that
I
movie
mean,
goes
dude,
hard
that's
though.
I
I
would
got
say
the
that movie and The Northman were best movies of 2022, bro.
those were
That's
fun. Yeah.
that's my take.
No, I don't
They were both
disagree.
really creative movies.
The Batman was awesome. I think it gets a lot of
Yeah,
hate online for some reason, which I don't
it
get.
does. A lot of people don't fuck with it, but
I
I
think
think it's
people would
like probably
fuck
one
with
of the
it,
closest.
but it's the Snyder people.
Yeah. They, they can't let go, man. It's like
Yeah.
you gotta let go, man. Ben Affleck is not Batman anymore,
Be like, bro,
unfortunately.
it's boring. He's
It's
not
over
beating
for you
up
guys.
supervillains the whole time. It's like, yeah, he's doing
Yeah.
detective work and shit. What Batman
He's being
does.
what Batman does at the core, man.
Batman
Like,
doesn't put on a
and he
super
did beat the
suit.
shit out of people.
Yeah, he did. He beat the shit out of mad people in that movie.
Yeah, dude. Like that scene is so fucking cool where it's like he walks like out of the darkness and just beats the shit out all of the like Joker gang guys.
Yeah, no, that was.
That opening scene of him, you're just like, oh shit.
No,
Yeah.
I'm very
And
excited
then
for the Batman too.
yeah, I heard they're doing Clayface. I thought that's
Well, I'm
perfect.
hyped for 2025 because writer and actor strike, assuming we should be getting both of those summer of 2025. It's supposed to be Superman first, I think, and then Batman in July, or maybe it's Superman in July and Batman in like May. I don't
Okay,
remember the
Batman the Brave and the
exact.
Bold or Matt Reeves
No, Matt
Batman?
Reeves.
Okay.
Brave and the Bold's like 2026, I think. So it's
Yeah, that
2025
sounds
is
right.
the Batman 2, as well as that Superman follow up, or the Superman Legacy, I should say. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's a good superhero man or Superman movie. Like, I thought Man of Steel was really good, but like, you gotta enjoy the Superman that like struggles with like
Right.
being a human and stuff like that, and just like the problems that comes with it.
No, Man of Steel is definitely my favorite of the Zack Snyder trilogy of DC movies.
Yeah,
I thought it worked the
I mean,
best. I like it better than like Watchmen in a way because Watchmen's just. I was
yeah.
watching Watchmen for one of the early episodes of this podcast before my former co-host Joe got canceled for
Oh
unfortunate
no.
reasons. Yeah, Joe got canceled, man. Joe from EP. Unfortunate reasons. So but
Damn, buddy.
we watched it. We watched Watchmen for the podcast, and that movie is funny as fuck because it's like it's good in spite of Zack Snyder, and it's mostly off the heels of the movie.
Right.
Like I thought the funniest scene
Yep.
was Comedian's funeral because Comedian dies and it's playing Simon and Garfunkel's "The Sound of Silence," and everyone's all sad. And
Yeah.
then like midway through it, it cuts to the scene where he rapes the original Silk Spectre, and I'm like, wait a minute
Yeah.
here. Why are people sad? Why is there this sad song? And they didn't play
Yeah.
"The Sound of Silence" because it's like they didn't do it in the same way as The Graduate or something, where The Graduate's a classic movie and they kind
Yeah.
of play it to like, you know, symbolize the death of youth and stuff. I talked about this before,
Right.
but
Yeah.
they just use it in the most unintentional way. That's like, be sad that the comedian is dead. We're gonna play The Sound of Silence, and then it cuts to him raping somebody. And the movie, I feel like,
Oh
really
yeah. It's
fails,
just
at
the
least in the
weirdest way to speak to
theatrical
people.
cut, to like humanize the comedian in any way.
Oh yeah. They just make him like the crazy big bad guy, I guess you'd say. And like I don't know, like that scene's super important, and like I think it's really important like in the graphic novel, like where it goes as far as like story context, and I definitely agree that they like kind of stitched that in a weird manner
Right.
compared to like the graphic novel. And then they all go to change the ending just like totally as well.
Oh
Like it's a
yeah, for
completely
sure.
different thing.
Yeah, no, it was weird. Well, they're doing I know you kind of like those DC animated movies. They're doing
Yep.
Crisis on Infinite Earths. I don't know if you heard about this, and also an
Oh
animated adaptation of Watchmen, which is hopefully gonna be closer to the original
man.
movie.
Yeah, I'm a huge DC animated guy. I've been saying for years that they should have some of the same writers be writing some of the live action
Well,
movies, dude. Because
in the recent Batman ones, especially since Kevin Conroy passed away, they've been using Jensen Ackles
yeah,
as the voice of Batman, and he's rumored
yeah,
to be Batman in Brave and the Bold, which I think would be pretty sick. Because I
bro,
think
that would be sick.
he actually does a pretty good job of having like
He does.
a Bruce Wayne and a Batman voice. Like, Kevin
Yeah,
Conroy's the guy who's like,
no,
where like he does a Bruce Wayne and a Batman voice, and they both sound
yeah,
natural. Like, Christian
yeah,
Bale has a Bruce Wayne voice, and then his Batman sounds super unnatural. And I think Robert
right.
Pattinson did a good job of that. But I think if you got Jensen Ackles doing that, where he kind of has a Bruce Wayne and a Batman voice, I think it'd be sick. Genuinely.
Yeah, I do too. And he's been doing Batman's voice for a minute now. He did it on like Under the Red Hood
Well,
animated
he
film.
wasn't
Probably one of
even
the best.
Batman. He moved his way up because he was playing Jason Todd in that one, dude. Dude got promoted
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
was
he did.
him as Red Hood, Neil Patrick Harris as Nightwing, and then I
Nightwing.
think it's Michael Duncanson as Batman in that one.
I think you're right. I
And
think
Michael
that sounds
Duncanson
about
has
right.
done a lot of voices for DC.
Oh yeah, he's also another great guy. But dude, that movie itself like has to be probably the number one DC animated movie. Like
That
it's
one's
so
great.
good.
I really liked
That
their
one and
adaptation of
Justice
Long
League Doom.
Halloween.
Oh
Long
yeah,
Halloween
dude,
is
I actually
awesome.
just watched the part two of it like not too long ago, and yeah, like they nailed it. It was really good.
Tim Sale in Long Halloween is also an inspiration, I think, for our comic. I think
Seriously, dude,
we kind of slept on him when we were talking about the comic earlier, but I think Tim Sale's a big.
he's huge in there too, and
He's
I
in
think he
there.
just passed, unfortunately, didn't
I
he?
think Tim Sale did pass last year or the year before. I think you're right. I think he.
Yeah, he did, man. R.I.P. What a great artist. Like everyone that's I've ever heard anything about him from said he was just like the greatest dude.
Right. Neil Adams, a lot of great artists that I really admire have passed recently. Darwin Cook, Neil Adams, Tim
Yeah, but
Sale, lots of people that
yeah,
I only met Neil Adams,
lots of goats,
unfortunately,
dude.
out of him, but Neil Adams was awesome when I met him. Super nice
Yeah,
guy. I
yeah.
heard he
I
was
met
kind of
him
a
at
douche
the.
to some people, but I don't know if he just, I don't know how much I believe, because I met Neil Adams and that dude was actually super genuine.
Yeah,
He threw in
I
an
met him
extra
at the
print
Kansas
for
City.
me, and he was just super
Oh, nice.
nice.
Yeah, I met him at the Kansas City Comic Con a few years ago, and yeah, he was also really nice to me as well. And,
Yeah,
like,
great
just kind of had
guy.
a lot of advice and good stuff to say. So
And
yeah,
he
I
also
hard to
brought,
that, but you know,
I think he's like one of, like, even perhaps over Jack Kirby, he's made comics what they are today. I think Jack Kirby has really created comics of their time and elevated
yeah,
that style, but the more like pseudo realistic style that Neil Adams brought, I think really is more
yeah.
of the comic standard today.
Oh yeah, like that kind of Jim Lee, David Finch, kind of like ultra realistic style.
Right, realistic but still comic booky in a
Yeah.
way.
Still, yes, exactly.
And I think he gets kind of like in comic book circles. I don't think so, especially in collector circles. They really appreciate Neil Adams, but I think
Oh yeah.
in like circles of like casual fans who are like, I'm a fan of the movies and stuff. Like Neil Adams
Right.
gets slept on, but if you're like more of a casual fan, I think it's worth checking out Neil Adams' work because I think he
Yeah.
brought a lot to the medium. And him and
Well,
Denny
I mean,
O'Neil as a
he
pair tag teamed
exactly.
comics into the modern day back in like the
So
70s and
if you're
80s.
even a fan of Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul and any of those stories, you can thank Neil
Green
Neil Adams
Lantern,
because
Green
they,
Arrow.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, Green Arrow's whole
Lots of
status
stories wouldn't be
quo.
possible without them.
There was 40 or 30 years of Green Arrow continuity before Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil stepped into that rank, and almost all of that was like, the Green Arrow we know today from like the Arrow show and all that stuff was made up
Right.
by Adams and O'Neil.
Oh yeah. He used to be a lot more gimmicky of a character, that's for sure.
Yeah, he would use his trick arrows, and he was
Yep.
goofy, but it's just kind of, yeah. No, I think like Green Arrow as this kind of cynical Batman type character,
Yeah.
kind of like the other Batman, but in a way he always kind of disagrees with Batman and wants to give more of a voice. He's Batman. There was a controversy recently where Batman was a fascist. I don't know how much I believe with that controversy, but I would definitely agree with the idea of Green Arrow being a socialist, post Adams. I mean, just to bring some
Yeah.
politics into it. Interesting
Yeah.
stuff. Interesting stuff. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, hopefully we can keep working on our comic and start cranking that out soon.
Oh yeah, no,
I think
that's
it'll be
definitely
a
the
fun
plan.
read, and I think we should definitely get some more crank out some more podcasts. I know we wanted to talk about the I want to reread for the podcast because we were going to talk about the Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles run.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's a
Oh
great
yeah.
idea for an episode.
Yeah, so
Um,
we'll both brush up on that, but I have tons that I could, because besides Batman and Spider-Man, like the Ninja Turtles were like my top kind of like pop culture icons back in the day that I loved. So like
right.
I've done so much reading, especially on that original run there. So we could easily turn that into a whole episode if that's
Oh
what people
yeah.
are interested.
I think it'd be awesome. I like how they like it's very different from modern Ninja Turtles. Like the first couple issues established pretty much all the lore that modern people know, but
Oh yeah.
I think our comic, if intentionally or not, I don't know how much it was intentional by me at least. I don't know, or how much by you at least, because I don't think I intentionally drew from it, but subconsciously, like our comic book that we're making is kind of a lot like those early Ninja Turtles, where Eastman and Laird were like, well, what if they just went to space now and it was a space opera for a couple
Right.
issues,
Yeah.
or they fight a
Yeah,
big
I think
monster, or you know,
yeah, as you said, I don't know if that was intentional, but it was definitely in like the back of my mind, and like it always is when I'm creating because it's a huge influence to me as a creator. But yeah, we'll definitely give that like a good kind of once over on a future episode because there's so much good stuff to talk about, and that even that original run really kind of runs almost side by side by the 2003
oh
series
yeah,
that like I like we grew up with as a kid because that was written by Peter Laird, so he wanted to make that pretty accurate, but he obviously changed up a few things and make it
I've
a little
never
more
read
kid
it, but I've
friendly.
heard
But
it's really good, and they're making a game off of it. Maybe I'll read the Last Ronin too for the episode.
yeah, I read that. That's really fucking good.
I
They're
almost would
making
be
a game
down
off
to
that.
do like two parts on Ninja Turtles. One episode where we talk about the comic side of it, and one side where we talk about like the
The
movies
media.
and
Yeah,
the
and then for
TV.
that, I'll need to go watch the newest one in theaters because I have yet to do that as well, and I hear it's not bad. So
No, it's not bad. I thought it was a little like a lot of ideas, and I wish it slowed down a bit. Maybe it was a little
yeah,
longer, but For the most part, it was
Gotcha.
good. I think you'll really enjoy it, especially like
Okay, yeah.
I love the art style on the mutants. I didn't love it on the humans, but I think the mutants at least you'll get a huge kick out of just like seeing
Yeah.
them on screen and seeing them in motion. Like, because I've seen a lot of stills and I've seen little trailers, but like seeing like the fight scenes and stuff are crazy. It's
Hell
awesome.
yeah.
So I
Okay,
really
yeah. So
enjoyed it.
I'll definitely give that a watch, and then we'll have to do another episode, Turtles episode, man.
I'd love a
Hell yeah.
Turtles episode because I think they're underrated. I also think like honestly rereading those early Eastman and Laird will probably help us get our juices flowing again to continue
Yeah.
this comic.
Oh, easily.
Cause like
Yeah. So
just their work ethic and
go ahead.
style of work, I think was similar to
Yeah,
how we were making
I
it,
think
where we
so
were just
too.
kind of in your apartment. Like, what if he fucking did this? Wouldn't that be fucking crazy?
Right.
Drawing it out and coloring it and all that shit. So
Yeah, I think that's like the proven way to like really kick it off, and like it really worked for us. So yeah, I mean, definitely stay tuned on that, guys. Like we've got the pitch ready, so whether it'll be through a publisher or we decide to just move forward and self-publish it. You can hear more about it here and on my website as well. I'll be posting some pages up there as well, so
yeah,
you
I
guys can
mean,
catch up
I'll
there.
I'll throw your website in the description.
Yeah,
I think it'd be cool. Maybe post a couple of those preview pages and see if the people who listen to this are interested in helping us get the motivation to pull it through.
yeah. I mean, it's all there. We just
We just need to get
we're
it
just
done.
gonna we did yeah. If we're self-publishing, we're just gonna have to finish it, which is not impossible. So
No, and
stay tuned for that, y'all.
I definitely think what we have is quality enough that Amazon would at least let us just indie publish it through
Yeah.
Anthology. Whether or not
Oh
people
yeah.
read it or not is the question. Or we could go like Webtoons or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let us know, if you guys have thoughts on like what your favorite like medium to read comics is on. We'd love to hear about that too.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Love to get
Um
people's opinions on that.
yeah, well I guess we're kind of wrapping up. You got anything else to add before we sign off for the day?
Um, no, I think that pretty much covers it, just kind of about our book and kind of our influences and interests as far as comics go. Definitely we'll be doing a longer episode about turtles because that is so near and dear to my heart that I could easily go a
Oh
whole
yeah.
episode just with that. So
Yeah, well, this podcast in general, we got a bunch of shit coming up. Collin will definitely be back to help out with some Ninja Turtles episodes and stuff. And if you
yes,
end up
sir.
making it back out to Minnesota sometime before you move to Cali, you should definitely, we could just record
Yeah,
them in
we'll
person. That'd
we'll
be a
talk.
little
I definitely
easier.
plan on that. Yeah, I was like, we can just kind of do a real one there. So we'll talk about that and get that happening because I've been meaning to come see you anyway. So
Yeah, is Kyle still out here?
no, he moved to San Diego.
Oh, that'll be kind of nice. At least you'll be somewhat
So
close.
yeah, it's like a 2 hours ish like drive. So like on the weekends and shit, we'll be linking.
Shit, we should all link out
And
in
yeah,
California
I
next time
was
I'm
like,
out at
and
my
then
mom's house or something.
I was like, when you get to Vegas, just like come through a few hours more and stay at my place.
Oh, for sure. We'll get it. We'll get it linking, bro. But yeah, if
All
you come
right.
into Minnesota, just link up. We'll throw down a mattress. Maybe we can crank out a couple more pages or something while you're out here. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, my guy.
Sweet. Anyways, this was the Colin and Connor Power Hour, Volume 7. We'll be back next week on Tuesdays. We crank it out every Tuesday. Um, and we'll have different guests. We'll have Colin back soon to talk about Turtles and talk about more updates on the comics. I think we can kind of just use this as a venue to kind of be like, well, we're done with page 10. Check it out on the website
Right.
or whatever. We
Sure.
may as well.
So
So,
yeah.
but we'll have you on more, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, man. See y'all later.